Imagine a mountainous place where the seasons' rhythm rule. A place where centuries of agriculture and fish have reshaped the way of living. In a Japanese mountain range in northern Japan, close to the west coast of Japan's Honshu Island, a dozen fish breeders are guardians of a unique old craftsmanship. The bright colors and beautiful balance of patterns hide an ingenious way of breeding a very special fish. This is the Japanese koi, a fish that is collected by people from all over the world. But breeding this fish requires an extraordinary level of experience, intelligence, and dedication. But why? What makes this colorful carp so expensive? And why do collectors go on expeditions to this remote part of Japan to find that one specific fish? My name is Ivo, and I'm enchanted by the mystery and beauty of the Japanese koi. My life revolves entirely around this beautiful fish, and during my adventures in Japan, I look for answers to my questions to learn more about this valuable fish. Last year I traveled to Japan to investigate how they breed the Japanese koi and learn more about the oldest koi in the world. A special event that had never been filmed before. This year I return, 3 years after quitting my job, to find out what happens in the first year of life of this fish. How does a breeder choose from hundreds of thousands of koi that one potential winner that contribute to a successful future? I am looking for the marginal difference between success and failure and what that means for the breeders. For more than 10 years, I've been coming to this area to learn more about the people, the culture, and the unconditional love for this fish. In just a few weeks from birth, a unique process begins that until now took place behind closed doors. In this documentary, I take you to this mountainous region where the start of a special life journey begins. Travel with me and discover how this swimming artwork has become one of the most valued fish. Even after 10 years of traveling to Japan, it is quite an experience. My journey starts in the Netherlands. From here, it's about 22 hours of travel before I reach my first destination. The journey consists of a 14-hour flight and 2 shorter train journeys, one of which uses the Japanese bullet train that can reach speeds of up to 200 miles per hour. I am obsessed with the Japanese engineering and precision of the subway and train system. More than 6 million people uses these trains every single day. Traveling to Japan makes me forget my daily worries and stress. Everything is so structured and safe that I feel like I'm on another world. Once I arrived in Nagaoka, I was exhausted and excited at the same time. At the train station, I find out that this area is not only known for breeding Japanese koi, but also for the largest firework festival in the world, which is held as a memorial and as a sign of peace. I read that the largest shell has a diameter of 650 meters and weighs more than 300 kilos. I have to go to sleep. Tomorrow is the first day of my trip, where I will look for the answers to my questions. It's day 1 of my journey. Even after all these years, I didn't sleep much last night and I'm eager to get started. After a quick breakfast, I drive to my first appointment. It has been exactly 1 year since I visited the Tarazo Koi farm, and that is now the starting point again. It is the busiest time of the year for the breeders, and upon arrival, Tsuyoshi Kawakami, who is in charge of the farm, is already waiting for me.
I go to not Pond Fry, mountains area.
We are on our way to the outdoor ponds, where the fish, which are only a few weeks old, are currently being raised. Last year I delved into breeding Japanese koi and learned how the first selection round of this special fish went. I came to the conclusion that breeding koi is a very special process in which the breeder's right to exist depends on the results. Today the Kawakami family takes me to their promising ponds. This is where the future of the farm lies. It's time to feed the only 4-week-old offspring. Josie says that the ponds are fed and inspected twice a day, and that there is a total of 48 ponds for the baby koi. I realized that this is a day job for more than one person. There is simply no room for error. This means that the breeder must take the elements into account, as well as predators such as bears, birds, and frogs.
Yeah, already one escape. Catch and
Release.
yeah, because of frog breeding also too many, frog babies.
The Tarazo Koi farm is over 100 years old and is a family business. They have specialized in different varieties, but especially in kohaku. Kohaku is a white koi with red patterns. Its graceful simplicity has made the kohaku, which means amber in Japanese, the best known, most popular and most appreciated koi variety. We travel on to the next ponds, where Josie, his daughter, her husband, and the staff are busy placing nets and feeding the koi. I ask the breeder as much as possible between work. In a few days from now, something important will happen. Selecting the best koi from these ponds, and if I'm lucky, I can be present during this selection process. I decide to investigate as much as possible about growing the koi here. But I'm also distracted, time and time again, by these beautiful Japanese landscapes. I decide to move on and temporarily leave the Tarazo Koi farm. I have been invited by the Shintaro Koi farm, where today the parent animals are being released into the outdoor ponds, high in the mountains of Yamakoshi. The Shintaro Koi farm is run by Masaru Saito and his 2 sons. This breeder has specialized in growing sanke. A Taisho Sanshoku is a white koi with red and black patterns. While Taisho refers to the era in which the sanke originated, namely the Taisho period, sanke literally means 3 colors, the colors white, black and red. The Shintaro Koi farm is located in the heart of the Yamakoshi mountains, where several breeders are located. This is a place I really love to visit. In Japan, aging is one of the biggest challenges the country faces. This is also the case here in Yamakoshi, where some older generations of koi breeders are retiring. Masaru and his son recently took over one of those farms, the Marusho Koi farm. This means they can expand the number of outdoor ponds and koi varieties.
This Marusho Koi farm wanted to retire because he's too old to carrying koi and breeding koi, so that decided to buy. It's good opportunity to know how to breed other varieties for Kosuke, and also good facility for us. So gonna be a secret ponds here.
The Shintaro Koi farm recently bred with the new varieties, and today we are going to give these parent animals a well-deserved rest in the outdoor ponds. One by one, the fish are released into the water by Kosuke, the youngest son. I enjoy it as much as the breeder, who clearly enjoys releasing the koi. The koi stays in these ponds until autumn. Then they will go to the indoor ponds just before the start of the winter. I decide to drive back to my hotel on time. I am tired from all the impressions, and tomorrow promises to be a very exciting day. It's the next morning. I start today where I ended yesterday, at the Shintaro Koi farm. Just before going to sleep, I received a message asking if I would like to help feed the koi in the early morning. Of course I couldn't say no to that, even though there was something unique on the program today. More about this later, but first it's time to feed the hungry fish.
Thank you.
With my research questions in mind, I try to collect and map as much information as possible. Kosuke tells that the fish feed themselves in the first few days with natural food from the pond and a protein-rich powder that contributes to rapid growth and health of the fish. These are the essential nutritional sources. Together with Kosuke, we monitor the activity of the fish and fill the feeders that need to be refilled several times a week. With this additional food, the fish grow enormously in this climate. It is warm, and we decide to go back to the koi house. I am offered a delicious lunch for my help, a good basis for my evening program. In the utmost secrecy and after months of preparation, something is taking place tonight that has never happened before in the history of koi. I am at the Dainichi Koi Farm, one of the largest and best koi farms in the world and maker of the most beautiful koi from Japan. I get to witness a unique collection that is very exceptional in size and quality. Perhaps the most important thing about this event is the boundless passion of the new owner. Tonight, one of the world's largest private collection will be flown by private plane from Japan to South Africa. A military operation that involved months of preparations so that the almost 200 fish arrive safe and healthy at the new owner. Soon it became clear to me that this was well prepared when I start talking with one of the responsible doctors who would supervise the transport.
Hi there, my name is Kevin Till. I'm better known as the Koi medic, especially in South Africa. I'm ex-chairman of Koi in South Africa, and my job is to be the Koi doctor that is going to be flying with a private plane through and monitoring the fish and making sure that everything is in good tip-top shape until they get into the pond and acclimatize. This is a team of experts that are busy netting the fish and preparing the fish to be bagged and for transport. Obviously, logistically, we're talking about this particular collection going to Africa, so from Japan, so it is really a logistical importance that we get everything done properly. But you'll see how carefully these experts handle, and we're in very good hands here in Japan with the way, especially Dainichi, how they're bagging and everything. So enjoy the journey with us, and we learn all the time. And you will find that this is a very, very exciting and a very unique collection that has been purchased.
I am impressed by the number of people involved in this transport. I also realized that this is not about money, but about the amount of passion when you fly your own cargo plane from Africa to Japan to pick up your new koi. I understand that this may sound crazy, but to eliminate any form of risk and put the welfare of the koi as number one is a sign to me that this owner cares enormously about his new fish. Apart from the logistical challenges, it seems as if the breeder and staff who fly this koi do this every day. It looks well organized. The koi these days are being chipped, so the breeder knows exactly which fish belongs to which owner. Here too, the single-colored fish are checked before they go into the box. It is now deep into the night, and the first fish are being loaded into the trucks. These koi still have a long journey ahead of them. I decide to go to my hotel and get ready for a new day. After a short night, I'm excited. Today is the day that I can attend the selection process. I was told to get to the farm early so we can harvest the fish from the mud pond and then start with the selection. I hope to learn a lot today and find out how and why a breeder selects a certain fish. But before I drive to the farm, I stop at a small local koi shop. I am looking for a tool that breeders use in this process. I feel like a kid in the candy store in this boutique shop. They have everything here, from aquascaping, koi guides to fishing nets. I am looking for a small, handmade fishing net that breeders use during the selection. I secretly hope that I can help somewhere and learn something from the breeder. I found what I was looking for, and the friendly store employee helps with the checkout. I decide to leave quickly before I spend more money on cool koi gadgets. In Japan you can pay with a credit card almost everywhere, even here in one of the most remote stores.
Okay.
I report myself at the mud ponds, where Homare and his staff are busy with the preparations. Thousands of fish are caught this way, and this remains a special event. The fishing net is pulled in centimeter by centimeter. It is very important that every fish is in the net. The harder and faster you pull, the greater the chance that the koi will escape from under the fishing net, according to Homare. I can't wait to admire the fish and study them up close. I'm also very curious about what the breeder pays attention to in this phase of life and why he thinks his choice can yield a lot of potential. One by one the koi are loaded and placed in a large tank with oxygen. It's time to go to the koi house, where the whole family is ready to start selecting. The fish are carefully unloaded and moved to a large pond. The tank of fish looks like a large orange-yellow spot at first glance, but nothing could be further from the truth. Because when I look closely, I see that every koi has already developed a pattern. Some are wonderfully balanced. After all koi have been transferred and the final preparations have been made, it's Joshi who starts with the selection. I ask his daughter Yuki if she's up for it.
Are you excited?
Not really.
This work requires a lot of concentration. After all, the future of the farm depends on these batch of baby fish. For several months, the breeder works day in and day out to select the fish until they are big enough. After watching for a while, I'm curious about how many koi there are in these ponds.
And Yuki, why are you not excited?
Yeah, it's the... How many we gonna do sandwich today? 100,000? Today? 100,000. So it's gonna be like all day long.
I'm amazed at how much time and energy goes into raising one single koi.
For 3 weeks. So yeah, we gotta sit here for 3 weeks.
I see Joshi explaining to one of his employees what to look out for. I try to listen as best as possible and see if I can recognize any patterns in the selection. The selection process is called senbetsu in Japanese. After a few hours of watching and asking questions, Homara arrives with the catch from the second pond. I am told that of the approximately 100,000 koi, only 10% move on to the next round. That is 1 in 10 koi after one round. This means that the selection is very strict. But why? Yuki explains to me that in this phase, a number of important aspects are taken into account. One is the koi health. Second, if the koi is straight. And 3, what pattern does the koi have? The fish that do not meet the criteria are sold domestically to hobbyists and hobbyist dealers, who hope that the breeder has overlooked a few of his pearls.
Baby champion.
It is difficult to imagine that some of these koi can be sold for a lot of money in 1 or more years. They are swimming art objects and therefore called nishikigoi, swimming jewels. I get asked what I was secretly hoping for from the breeder. Joshi asked if I want to try it and help with the selection. The breeder trusts me and I feel very honored. Despite the many years of relationship with the Tarazo Koi farm, breeders in general do not like to outsource their work. The fact that I can be present and help is very special to me.
Try again.
I sit down and decide to look as closely as possible to see if the fish is healthy and to look at the patterns on the back or head. And believe me, I soon found out that is quite difficult.
Too small pattern and then no red on head.
After half an hour and under the watchful eye of Joshi, I let Yuki do her work again. I don't want to hold them up. I notice that it's still quite difficult to choose the best koi, although I'm getting better at it. And fortunately, I also found some few potential winners. I decide to support the terrazzo family with capturing some of the koi fish.
How many? In total?
6200
6,000.
6,200.
200.
After hours of concentrated selection, the remaining koi must be returned to the outdoor ponds. These are the koi that are allowed to continue growing and have been approved by the koi breeder. I drive back to the mud ponds with one of the staff, where we release the koi back into these ponds. I learned a lot today, but I'm also curious about the next selection round that will take place in a few weeks. It's the next day. I'm up early. I have another appointment in the north of Japan before I leave for Hiroshima, where I will visit the largest koi farm in the world.
How are you?
For now, I'm reporting to a breeder I haven't been before. This is Yusai Hosakai. He is a Sakai fish farm graduate and took over the farm from his father in 2022.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
This farm is known for breeding Gosanke, Hikari Mojo, Asagi, Shushui, Goshiki, and Goromo. Masaru is the second generation of the Hosakai Koi farm. His father, Shoichi, started the farm decades ago, in 1971. Today I can attend a selection that is different than we have seen before this trip. While most breeders have their ponds in the mountains, this breeder has a number of ponds in the countryside. I noticed that the ponds are deeper, and there's also a lot of frogs in and around the ponds. I wonder if this is a good or bad sign for the koi. The koi that come out of the pond today are also around 40 days old. I also expect the same size as we have seen at the Terrazzo Koi farm. But that turns out to be different when I see the first fish in the net.
Maybe frog eat the fly, the baby.
The koi are almost twice as big as I expected. I asked the breeder if this is normal. Yusai suspects that this is due to the frogs that might have eaten the baby fish, but he doesn't know for sure.
感じがなんていうの I feel good そうミニタンチョウ
It turns out that breeding koi can be risky because it depends on so many different factors. This pond contains various varieties of koi, but mainly Showa, a black koi with white and red patterns. Red is also called beni in Japanese. I see there are some great ones included. Yusai explains why the fish in this phase should be orange and not red. They even have a special name for it.
タテゴイなタテゴイLike this penny maybe become good penny Showa
Why?
I don't know. We call takeiro, take.
Takehiro.
Takeiro.
Takeiro.
Take color.
Takakara.
Take. Take ってなんていうの?
Ah, bamboo.
Bamboo color.
Ah, bamboo collar, yes.
Yeah, we call.
After a lightning visit and a nice morning, I have to move on. But not before I take a look at the ponds of a breeder who regularly receives an unwanted guest. And this is how he protects his offspring. I am on my way to the largest and most famous koi farm in the world, the Sakai Fish Farm. It is an hour flight from Tokyo, and while I admire the gigantic city of Tokyo from my window, I wonder what breeding and growing up will be when you are the largest farm in the world. From the airport in Hiroshima, it's about half an hour drive to the farm. I'm curious and go there with open mind. Upon arrival, I'm amazed at the gigantic size of this farm that cannot even be captured in one shot. With 16 greenhouses and more than 120 indoor ponds, this can be called gigantic. I have to wait another hour for Kotaro, who is responsible for the Champion Pond, where millions of dollars in koi swim. I am asked to wait in the Japanese garden next to the farm, and that is no punishment. The Sakai Fish Farm is the largest koi farm in the world and has one of the most world titles to its name. In 2018, their best fish, named as Legend, was sold for $1.8 million. Since then, every collector wants to own a fish from the Sakai Fish Farm.
My name is Kotaro Sakai from Sakai Fish Farm, and we are actually our garden pond. This is a very traditional Japanese style. My grandpa actually designed it more than 30 years ago, before I was born, and like each rocks and trees were chosen by my grandpa, and also like placement was also designed by him. Fortunately, it's crowded today, but still very beautiful garden pond.
The wait is rewarded, and Kotaro takes me to his office, and then continues for a short lunch. It promised to be a busy and educational afternoon, and he has a surprise for me. Something he normally never does. Kotaro takes me to his champion house. This is where he takes care of the koi. Here swim their most beautiful and best koi. I wouldn't even dare to guess how much value these fish have together. I get a full tour, and I wonder how they get these fish so big. The average length is more than 1 meter in size. Kotaro explains that nutrition is extremely important and wants to tell and show everything to me and our viewers.
So in this pond we have the previous year's grand champion fish of the All Japan Koi Show, and also we have ponyo, and also Nongo Sange champions here. So for these fish that we are keeping in this greenhouse, we feed total 5 times a day. The first food come out at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is pellet food, and then in the daytime at 8:30 a.m., 1 a.m., and 5 p.m. we feed the paste food, and then lastly we feed again the pellet food at 10 p.m. Weekend we stop feeding so that they can take some rest, and on the Monday they're hungry again, eat all day.
What's inside the secret paste?
So now we mix 2 kinds of the one that we feed for fry. We mix it with water, and we add some honey and steamed oats and steamed sweet potato. I mix it everything.
Can I feed the koi?
Yeah, sure. For each pond, include this like greenhouse and all the greenhouse actually. For each pond, we have the total weight of all the fishes. For example, like in this pond, we have 14 fishes inside, and which total weight is 157.6 kg. At the moment, we are feeding 0.45% against the total body weight of these fish. So yeah, this is how we control how much we feed. And this is the most important thing for keeping koi, I think.
Kotaro invites me to feed the champion koi with their special clay food.
Need to do a glove?
I first have to put gloves on before I can touch the food. The breeder explains that the food is weighed down to the gram, so they know how much the koi get. And as with the pellet food, the weight of the fish is taken into account. I divide the large balls of food into smaller portions that I can feed under the authority of the breeder. The koi dive for the food as if they haven't eaten for days. We are ready to go to the birthing rooms. This is the department where I hope to learn how they select the best koi in the world.
So it's time for small fishes now.
Kotaro takes me by car to another koi house. And it soon becomes clear that they do everything differently here.
Yeah, we count the 2,000 pieces in one bowl, and other bowls we like put about the same amount, and we put in one plastic bag 5 bowls. That means in one plastic bag we have 10,000 pieces. That's how we count the number of the fries.
In contrast to the north of Japan, everything here is on a much larger scale. The selection work is human work, but I see that everything around it looks like a well-organized production line where the latest techniques are used.
It's too small to show you, but it's actually very, very tiny shrimp.
The small shrimps are used to feed the koi that are a few days and weeks old. I noticed that everything is done very professionally, and breeder knows exactly how many fish there are per pond. Kotaro takes me to the selection rooms, where he explains what to look for when selecting young koi.
So I'm only focused on the pattern, because in this size of the fish I cannot tell about the body or growing speed yet. So what I need to focus is actually only the pattern. But there's this very small, the pattern can be changed a lot, so I've been culling for like 10 minutes and I couldn't really find a like super patterned fish, but this is like average pattern of the fishes that we can get. So it's actually super rare to find a fish that can be even more than like 100,000 yen. It's very rare. It's not like we can pick up and it's not gonna be like that. So it's actually a very tough job.
1 in a million.
Absolutely. I think fish that could be up 100,000 yen,
Maybe 10,000 pieces a year out of 30 million fries.
like even these fish, they're still looking okay at the moment, but in the second culling, of course the color could be disappeared or the belly can be like connected, and like this fish cannot be like, the belly on the head cannot be shallower one than this. If this disappear even a little bit more, then this fish cannot be sold. So now we finished culling, and here we have 1,750 pieces out of 150,000 fishes.
1%. Little bit more.
Yeah, 1%.
Wow.
I have learned a lot in the past few weeks in Japan about breeding and raising koi. From small to large, every breeder faces challenges and risks that can threaten their existence. Japanese koi are part of the culture and are adored, collected, and kept as pets all over the world. It is no wonder that the Japanese koi can be so expensive. They are unique works of art that sometimes require up to 5 years of care from the breeder before they can be sold. I realize that it's also a numbers game. The bigger the farm, the more koi they can bred. In the coming months, the selection rounds will continue until the breeder have put together their final collection. Rain or sunshine, these breeders work from early in the morning until late at night to continue their pride. Making these videos takes a lot of time. I would appreciate it if you would leave a comment or subscribe to my channel. You can also support my work by becoming a member on my Patreon. The link can be found in the description of this video. But before you leave, if you want to see more about koi, click on the link in the top right of your screen. You can watch the documentary about koi breeding. The sequel will follow very soon, in which I try to make my dream as a koi seller coming true. Thanks for watching.